Hi.
Hey. Okay, so many things. Obviously the endocrine system was really nice for me. So,
Oh, good.
because, well, I need that. So thank you. When you mentioned patchouli, I realized we actually had a conversation about patchouli in the psychic protection class. And funny enough, I actually used that. I did a little bit on my wrists a couple of nights ago, and I felt really nice afterwards. And I didn't
Yeah,
even
it's very
make,
nice.
yeah, I didn't even
It's one
make
of
the
those
connection.
ones where you just forget about it and then you use it and you're like, oh yeah, this is quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one that we got on that kit, because actually that's the only patchouli I have, so it's the dark patchouli. So basically, the regular patchouli and the dark patchouli would do the same thing if
Hmm.
we're talking about like the endocrine system.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay. And then specifically for me, because I am doing frankincense and myrrh, I'm doing like the
Hmm.
three wise men, I'm doing angelica. Would
Hmm.
the patchouli be helpful to help with all the
Yeah.
endocrine
I
stuff?
mean, you don't have to be doing them all at once. You could kind of rotate it through them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I'm doing things on the endocrine system, either for a client or for myself. We kind of rotate them around unless there's a really severe issue. I would say frankincense and myrrh or three wise men would be kind of a bread and butter thing. Like it's jump
Mm-hmm.
starting all the glands to function better. The thing that is interesting with the angelica seed is the frankincense and myrrh jump starts the glands, excuse me, but if they're really depleted, you're jump starting the functions, but they can only function as much as they have like the energy for. And so the angelica seed then is a way to kind of give them more fuel or strengthen that system. And then the lemon verbena, very good for regulating the whole system, if there's things that are chaotic or imbalanced. But I would put patchouli in that realm with the lemon verbena. Different, but in that same vein where it does stimulate the glands to function better, but it kind of harmonizes the communication within the glands. Because again, the glands don't change how they interact very quickly, and so the use of the patchouli helps to like constantly improve the communication between all the different glands, which means that then they become easier to treat. And like say you have a thyroid issue, just treating the thyroid, it's going to be very slow and you're only going to make so much progress. But treating the whole system and then the thyroid, you're going to get much better effect. And so that idea of going through and treating different aspects so we're not just locked into doing the same thing over and over again, you have a greater potential to maximize the efficiency within a particular system. And here we're talking about the endocrine system. And then you throw in the ORIC program, and you're hitting it from a lot of different directions. But a
So,
lot of times we don't really think about the glands until something's out of balance or some health issue is raised up, you know. But as we get older, the healthier our glands are. I would say that's part of what slows the aging process down.
okay. And yeah, and I have a thyroid stuff. I have all the other glands. I have even the eyes is related to the glands that are there, which I'm guessing it's part of the same
Well,
system
there's
anyway.
endocrine and exocrine.
But that's
And
okay.
so, yeah. And so, I mean, how are the eyes doing, by the way?
I don't know. It feels like it's maybe the same. I don't even know. Maybe slightly better.
Okay.
It doesn't like I have days that they're a little bit kind of itchy or whatever, but overall that's not they don't really bother me.
Okay.
And it's like if somebody looks at me, they have to do like a double take to realize that there is something there. So
Okay.
So it is better than it was, a month and a
but
half
it's
ago
still
or
not
a month,
going away.
but it's there. It's
Is it
not going to go away.
has it reduced just in the last week or two?
I I think maybe a little bit, and when I press on it, it doesn't feel as, because I keep massaging it as well. It doesn't feel as hard. So
Mhm.
the one that was really bigger doesn't feel as hard.
Mhm.
Um, but it's still there, and I keep doing, all the things that we talked about. Um, it's pretty annoying. And even with the compresses, I have to make sure it's not too hot and it's not too, that it's still effective and it's,
Well, when I look at you, like the immune system is functioning, or the healing process, I should say, is doing better than it has. So, because there was a while where your like the healing processes in your body were looked like very, very diminished. And so they're all improving. So I mean, I'd say keep doing some of the same stuff and keep addressing it. I mean, you're gaining some momentum. I mean, I know it must be frustrating, but
oh my God,
the
yes.
body is getting better at being able to process those things. And, back when all of this started, your body was in such a stressed state, and all of that has gotten better. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't mean you're out of the woods, but it's like, ugh, you
And
know, it's
and I'm already
it's
on 2
in the
months.
part of the woods where you can see outside. You know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah.
look, the freeway's over there. It's getting there. And
So
so,
it's, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm on 8 weeks now. So, and I have to travel in, less than 2 weeks, which is,
Mhm.
so there's nothing else that come up in addition or that I need to switch or do differently with the eyes.
Um, are you doing the cultivating mystical heart class?
Yes, the idea is to do it.
So
It's
there
just the
is a
2 days
blend
before
in
I'm
there
going to
for
go.
the basal ganglia.
I saw, okay.
Yeah.
Oh God,
So
I'm
if
so
you can
glad.
get that,
So
we
I
should be
saw,
able to start shipping like in a couple of days. And
okay,
so
because
if
I saw that in the email. I wanted to ask you actually what's in there, which I still want to know. And I was like, wait and see, because it's probably part of the new class. Ha, good.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm planning to order the
I
class.
mean, you made me kind of brush out my notes, and I was like, oh, this is going to be part of the class.
And it's interesting because, after the session on Thursday, it felt like the only way I can explain it is like somebody connected the wires in my head.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah,
That's what it felt
exactly
like.
what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, so it felt like that. And then yesterday was a really great day, like better than I had in a very long time. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure even like I woke up better, everything. But then today, I'm it's not like I'm sliding backwards, but something felt really good for like a couple of days, then a little bit worse. Then yesterday was amazing.
Mhm.
And another thing I did actually Sunday night, again, now that I kind of break it down, as I was doing other stuff, I did the shields from the
Mhm.
psychic protection.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that made me feel better.
That
I
always feels
also,
nice. Yeah,
oh
that
my, it
always
felt
feels
so
nice.
good. And I
Mm.
also realized that how we talk about the fight and flight and freeze, I realized that I'm so deep in like the fawn,
Yeah,
that
almost
my,
everybody is.
and
Like,
so I
yeah.
actually cut my trip. I cut it like a day shorter. I was like,
Mhm.
this is why this is decision. It's not coming from me. That one day made me feel so much better.
Good.
It doesn't even make sense maybe to me, but I was like, sorry, so I kind of deviated, but the basal ganglia, yes.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the things that are in it. Um, Osmanthus, Mandarin Pettigrew, um, Greenheart, Clary Sage, Blue Mountain Sage, Mandarin, and Blood Cedar.
So here's the funny thing that happened a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, I'm like, I need to do Blue Mountain Sage. And keep in mind,
Mhm.
this is not one I do sage a lot. Blue Mountain Sage for a while, I couldn't even smell it because I'm not. But I was like, I need to do Blue Mountain Sage for some reason, and I don't understand why. So I've been dabbing it like behind my ears because I'm running out of
Oh,
places.
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've been doing that like a couple of times a day now and
yeah,
before I go to bed as well. And I'm like,
yeah.
I have a feeling,
And try like the Blue Mountain Sage and rotate it maybe with Clary Sage.
okay.
Yeah, Clary Sage is good for like stresses in the body and things. And so, they do some slightly different things, but the the Blue Mountain Sage is very cleansing to the brain and to the crown. Plus it still has the properties of sage where it's cure-all, and it jump starts body's processes and regulates things and deals with depletions and things like that. But the clary sage is a little bit more specific to some of the stress mechanisms, but it is very supportive of uh, like stresses in the body, the basal ganglia itself, and then I don't talk about some of these other aspects. I mean, I do, but I use different verbiage, and it's hard to explain it in like a normal symptom oriented like way of thinking. But you know how I'm always like intuition, 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 clairvoyance, intuition, and then we set it aside, and then there's other aspects of um like the lower emotion, homeostatic emotion. So that could be stress, that could be, anger, frustration, all the things, all the lower emotions. And, we kind of talk about them independently, but at some point, there's this aspect of the intuitive part of the mind, which is learning, healing, problem solving, innovating, all those things. How well that functions is dependent on how much excess homeostatic emotion is in the body, which is also means in the brain. And the the idea of going through and not just dealing with the homeostatic emotion, but now going homeostatic emotion, but in the intuitive process. How much is it impacting the intuitive process? And that will dictate like rate of healing. It will dictate how well you can learn. It dictates like kind of a lot of things. Like it's a kind of obstacle in the intuitive mind. And so we really don't talk about it. There's no term for it in like normal everyday, symptoms and systems, and because it's this rhythm and this dynamic between the physical body and the emotional body, and it's really a kind of a connection between the heart and the brain. And the for me, like in the old, like my notes are in like the old school way of looking at it, and it's tied to aspects of Mercury. And so, there's all these different aspects, not how like you would think about it astrologically, but there's, how like we went through and we did healing of the cardiovascular system and healing of the nervous system and healing of the skin and all of that. The planets have those aspects, and it's really about the dynamic between the physical, emotional, mental body. And there's an aspect of Mercury. It's just the best way to understand it is the dynamic of homeostatic emotion and intuition, like how they like basically affect each other. And I would say it's not even like so much like how they affect each other, but in a sense, they're just different parts of a spectrum, like the intuitive mind and the intuition and the homeostatic emotion. It's just, you could say, like lower intuition. Like, you're not able to like really expand the intuitive mind somewhat. And so part of what we're talking about here is unwinding some of that aspect of Mercury to, because if you look at like the old school things, like if you look at the old alchemists and the old healers from a long time ago, they'd go, Mercury's an issue for this person, or Jupiter's an issue for this person. But we look at it through our eyes now, like what astrology means now, and what they were talking about was something very, very, very different. I mean, there was processes in the body that were tied to these planetary energies. And so, you know, everything that we've been talking about is a way to address these things, but it's not just a simple like like a symptom. It's
Mhm.
it's like trying to put a jacket on a little kid while he's spinning around a merry-go-round. Like it's like, almost got it, almost got it, almost got it. It's this rhythm in the body. And so yeah, keep doing those things, keep
So
the things that we talked about. But